She was moving like someone who'd had too much to drink. She let herself fall against Louis, arms winding around his neck. I'm so dizzy. She melted against him, voice soft. Louis, I think I drank too much. As she said it, she flicked her eyes over at me. She wasn't drunk at all. She was daring me to react. The three friends were watching from nearby, clearly waiting for the show. Louis put an arm around Mia's waist. His brow furrowed, but he didn't push her away. He glanced at me. The old me would have already snapped, would have shoved her, screamed, made a scene. Instead I said, calmly, if Mia's had too much to drink, you should take her home. Something shifted in Louis's expression. He opened his mouth, but Mia cut in first. Louis, take me home. I just want you to take me, like you used to. Please? Louis hesitated, then turned to me. Go home and wait for me. I'll take her back and come straight to you. Don't cause a scene. Just go home. I smiled and nodded. Okay. Louis scooped Mia up in his arms and carried her out, right in front of everyone. Daniel started clapping as he walked over to me. He looked me up and down. Betty, seriously, what kind of facility did you go to? It's a miracle. So which is it, genuine peace or holding it together? Griffin came closer too. Say what you want. This version of you is a lot easier to be around than the old one. Louis might actually be into it, playing it cool, making him come to you. Smart move. I didn't bother responding. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Austin called out, really going home to wait like a good girl? Not even going to wait for Louis to come back and comfort you? I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I got in a cab, went home to get my suitcase, and went to the airport. I boarded the plane and put my phone on airplane mode. I slept. It felt like a long sleep. When I woke up, the plane had landed. I turned off airplane mode. In almost the same instant, my phone started shaking violently. The plane's wheels touched down on the tarmac of a tiny regional airport, the kind with no bustling crowds, no flashing cameras, no whispers that cut through my skin like shards of glass. I picked this place blindly, a dot on the map 3 countries away, nestled between rolling green hills and a quiet lake where my parents' childhood home still stood, dilapidated, forgotten, but mine. For the first time in 18 months, I breathed without feeling a weight crushing my chest. I flipped off airplane mode, and my phone erupted into a frenzy. The screen lit up so rapidly it blurred, notifications flooding in one after another, missed calls, dozens of them, all from Louis, from his private line, his assistant, his office. Text messages poured in, angry at first, then icy, then laced with a condescending concern that made my skin crawl. A few voicemail previews popped up, his voice deep and irritated, then tight with something that almost resembled panic. Betty, this isn't funny. Come home now. I know you're mad, but this tantrum is over the top. The driver is at the airport, waiting. If you don't answer in an hour, I'll have the entire coast searched. You don't get to walk away from me. I stared at the screen for a long minute, then deleted every notification, blocked his numbers, and tossed the phone into the bottom of my carry-on. No more ringing. No more demands. No more Louis. The taxi ride to the old cottage was slow, the roads unpaved, lined with wildflowers. The house was smaller than I remembered, the paint peeling, the porch siding, but it smelled like my mother's lavender soap and my father's pipe tobacco, a scent that hadn't touched my nose since I was a teenager. I unlocked the rusted front door with a key I'd kept in a locket around my neck for years, the one Louis had never noticed, never asked about. Inside, dust motes danced in the slanted sunlight. The furniture was covered in white sheets, the floors creaked under my feet, and the walls were lined with faded photos, my parents smiling. My graduation day, the day Louis had proposed, his ring glinting on my finger, back when I thought love was forever. I pulled the sheet off the couch, sank down, and let out a shaky laugh. For the first time since that night, I didn't feel like breaking. I spent the first week cleaning, fixing the leaky faucet, mending the torn curtains, and buying groceries from a tiny village store down the road. The locals were kind, quiet, they didn't know my name, didn't know my past, didn't look at me like I was a broken doll or a punchline. I worked in the small garden during the day, planting tomatoes and roses, and read books by the fireplace at night. No parties, no fancy dresses, no Louis, no Mia, no sneering friends. Just silence, and it was perfect. I thought I was safe. I thought I'd outrun the nightmare. I was wrong. It started small. A package on the porch one morning, wrapped in expensive black paper, tied with a red ribbon. Inside was the red velvet box containing the remade engagement ring, the diamond so big it caught the light even in the dim hallway. I tossed it in the trash without a second glance. The next day, a bouquet of white lilies, my favorite, the ones Louis used to bring me every Friday, arrived, delivered by a local florist who said a man in a black suit had paid for them in cash. I left them to wilt on the porch. Then came the letters, handwritten, in Louis's neat cursive, slipped under the door at night. They were not apologies. They were commands, reminders, thinly veiled threats. The wedding is still on. I've booked the venue you picked out 2 years ago. Mia is gone. I sent her away. Come back, and we can forget this ever happened. You think you can hide? I know where you are. I know every move you make. I burned every letter, the ashes floating up the chimney and into the night. I changed the locks, nailed boards over the windows at night, and stopped answering the door to strangers. But the paranoia crept back, the same cold fear that had haunted me in the psychiatric facility. I started waking up in the middle of the night, sweating, convinced I heard his car pulling into the driveway, convinced I heard his voice calling my name. One evening, as I was making dinner, I heard a knock at the door. My hands froze around the knife, my heart slamming against my ribs. I didn't move, didn't make a sound, praying whoever it was would leave. Betty, it's me. Open the door. Louis's voice. Deep, smooth, unyielding. He'd found me. I inched toward the door, peering through the crack between the boards. He stood on the porch, dressed in a tailored black suit, his hair perfectly styled, a single crease between his brows that only appeared when he was truly angry. Behind him, a black Bentley idled at the end of the dirt road, his driver standing beside it. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine, like he owned the world, like he owned me. Go away, I called through the door, my voice steady, unshaken. I'm not coming back. He chuckled, low and dark, the sound sending a shiver down my spine. You think you can live here forever? In this rundown shack eating canned soup, pretending you're not mine? You're being ridiculous. I'm not yours. Not anymore, I said. We're done. The wedding is off, Louis. Let me go. He fell silent for a moment, then rapped his knuckles against the door, hard enough to make the wood rattle. You left me. You walked out in front of everyone at the party, made me look like a fool. You think I'm just going to let that slide? You owe me. I owe you nothing, I snapped. You cheated on me with my best friend. You laughed when I tried to get revenge. You had me locked up for a year because I couldn't take it anymore. You don't get to demand anything from me. I kept you safe, he said, his voice dropping to a dangerous purr. I paid for your treatment. I kept the press away. I protected your reputation. You would have been ruined without me. And now you repay me by running to this hick town like a scared child? Safe? I laughed, bitter and hollow. You locked me in a room with strangers who drugged me when I cried. That wasn't safety. That was punishment. I'm never going back to that life to you. He was quiet for so long I thought he'd leave. Then he spoke again, his words cold as ice. You have two choices, Betty. Come home willingly, and we can fix this. We'll get married, move to the villa in Italy, put this all behind us. Or I'll have you taken back. The doctors said you're still unstable. I can have you recommitted in an hour, and this time, you won't get out for a very long time. My blood ran cold. I knew he wasn't bluffing. Louis always got what he wanted, no matter the cost. He had the money, the power, the connections to make me disappear again, to lock me away and throw away the key. Leave, I whispered. Please. I'll give you until sunrise, he said. If you're not in the car by then, I'll call the facility. Choose wisely, my love. You don't want to make me angry. I heard his footsteps retreat, the sound of the Bentley's door slamming, the engine purring to life. I slid down the door, collapsing onto the floor, tears stinging my eyes. I thought I'd escaped, but he tracked me down, cornered me, given me a choice that wasn't a choice at all. That night, I didn't sleep. I packed a small bag, grabbed my parents' photo and the locket with the cottage key, and snuck out the back door, heading into the woods. The trees were dense, the night dark, but I knew these woods from my childhood, knew the hidden paths that led to the lake. I planned to hide there until dawn, then catch a bus to the next town, disappear again, go somewhere even he couldn't find me. But as I stepped into the tree line, I heard a twig snap behind me. I spun around, my heart racing, and saw a figure standing in the shadows, not Louis, not his driver. A woman, her figure slim, her hair long and dark, wearing a red dress that glinted in the moonlight. Mia. I froze, my blood turning to ice. What are you doing here? She stepped forward, a slow, cruel smile spreading across her face, the $700 million necklace glinting around her neck. Did you really think Louis sent me away?